The day of my 27th birthday was the day I decided to leave. I sat at my desk, the glow of the monitor illuminating my face, and bought a one-way plane ticket to a country I'd always wanted to see. The moment the booking confirmation flashed on the screen, the front door opened and Chloe walked in. Before she even had a chance to take off her coat and hang it on the rack, she was standing in front of me, holding a small, pink, gift-wrapped box. "Sorry I'm a little late," she said, her voice soft. "Happy birthday, Leo." She opened the box herself. Inside, a diamond watch sparkled under the dim light of the living room. Without waiting for my reaction, she took the watch out and fastened it around my wrist. I didn't move or say anything. Normally, I would have been thrilled, making a big show of how much I loved it. This time, I just gave a quiet, Chloe hesitated, probably thinking I was still angry. She came up behind my chair and wrapped her arms around me, her warm breath tickling my ear as she leaned in close. My first instinct was to pull away, a reaction that felt foreign even to me, but I stayed still. She didn't seem to notice my stiffness and continued trying to soothe me. "Ethan just got back, you know. He doesn't have any family here anymore, and since we're all in the same circle of friends, it just felt right to throw him a welcome party. You never liked those kinds of parties, so I didn't invite you. But I didn't forget your birthday, I promise. I'm just a little late. Don't be mad at me anymore, okay?" Hearing her explanation, I didn't explode with 1,000 questions like the old me would have. My face was calm as I gave a simple nod. "I get it. Since he's all alone, you should take good care of him." Chloe seemed a little surprised by my response. "You don't mind anymore?" "Mind? Did I mind that after 5 years together, we barely managed to exchange 10 sentences a day, yet she could spend an hour on the phone with Ethan every single night? Did I mind that his name was her top chat contact, while my notifications were always on mute for her? Or that Ethan was the one who had dumped her to move abroad for his career, leaving her crying and promising they'd get back together if he returned within 10 years? And now, the very day he came back, she ditched my birthday to throw him a massive party. The old Leo would have minded, fiercely. But I wasn't him anymore. I was already planning my exit. I didn't voice any of these thoughts. Instead, I just managed a faint smile. "Didn't you always say I should be more understanding? Well, I can be very understanding. Understanding enough to even let you two be together." She frowned, looking at my calm face with a flicker of confusion. Something clearly felt wrong to her, but she didn't push it. She just sighed, a wave of relief washing over her face. "As long as you're not angry. I didn't get to eat much at the party. I'm starving now." I responded calmly. "I'm tired," and turned to walk into the bedroom, leaving her standing alone in the living room. She was stunned. I felt her hand instinctively grab my wrist, her gaze complicated and questioning. "You're just leaving like that?" I glanced back at her, my voice light. "What else do you want? You want me to be like I was before? To cook a huge meal every day and wait for you to come home until midnight? The food getting cold, while my stomach aches, only to get a text from you saying you're not coming home tonight." Faced with her intense stare, I remained completely unfazed. I easily broke free from her grasp and went into the bedroom, closing the door behind me. I could feel her standing there, staring at the closed door with a heavy heart, probably feeling like all her efforts had been wasted. I imagined she thought I was still just jealous and in a bad mood, that a little more coaxing would bring me around. A few moments later, I heard her grab her car keys and leave. The moment the front door clicked shut, my phone rang. I answered, and my friend Mark's indignant voice exploded through the speaker. "Leo, do you know Ethan is back? Did you see his post? How could Chloe do this to you? You two were childhood sweethearts. You were there for her every single time she was down. And then she gets with Ethan, a guy she'd only known for a month. He heartlessly dumped her to go abroad, and she was a mess. She only got with you to get over him. You never gave up on her. You stayed by her side all these years, but the second he comes back, she's chasing after him again. Does she even care about you? Did she forget she just proposed to you a month ago? You guys are about to get married." Hearing his furious rant, I just stayed silent. He was about to say more when I let out a soft chuckle, my voice calm. "Chloe said she feels like Ethan has no family here, so she needs to take extra care of him." I almost laughed saying it. Mark was incredulous. "You believe that crap?" "See," I said, my voice tinged with self-deprecation. "It's such a flimsy lie that even an outsider like you can see right through it. Yet she still thinks she can fool me with it." Mark was taken aback. "So you—" He trailed off, probably afraid of upsetting me further. After a moment of silence, I finally spoke. "Remember my dream of traveling the world? Chloe once said that after we got married, she'd go with me. I waited for her for so many years. It's only recently that I realized some views are better enjoyed alone. She has her own scenery she needs to see." My voice was incredibly soft, as if I had finally let everything go. Mark was stunned. "What do you mean? Are you breaking up with her?" "Something like that," I said with a small smile. "More accurately, I'm done with her." My flight was booked for 2 weeks from that day. During that time, I was busy planning my world trip. Chloe, as if trying to make up for her guilt, suddenly started acting like the perfect girlfriend. She made breakfast every day before she left for work, and came home early to cook dinner. Flowers, jewelry, and other gifts appeared constantly, almost more than she had given me in the entire past year. She drove me to and from work, tirelessly trying to be considerate. I let her do it all, but it was too late. My heart had grown cold, and these small gestures couldn't warm it up again. I had been disappointed one too many times. One morning, Chloe grabbed her car keys as usual to drive me to work. When I didn't follow her to the door, she looked back, puzzled. "I'm not going to work today," I told her calmly, "and you don't need to drive me anymore. I quit my job." "Why did you quit?" she asked, her voice filled with disbelief. "Weren't you doing well there?" I just looked at her, my expression indifferent. "I'm going to travel the world. My job isn't flexible enough for a long vacation, so I quit. I'll find a new company when I get back." Hearing the words, "travel the world," Chloe's expression froze. Her reaction was strange. She didn't seem happy for me at all. "This isn't urgent," she said. "We can discuss it." I looked at her face and understood perfectly. Even though she had proposed to me recently, with Ethan back in the picture, her resolve was wavering. She probably thought I was bringing up our old travel plans to pressure her into moving forward with the wedding. I muttered self-deprecatingly, "There's no need to discuss it. I'm not going with you." She frowned, not quite catching what I said. Just as she was about to ask me to repeat myself, her phone vibrated. It was Ethan. She stepped aside, turning her back to me as she answered. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but I saw her expression shift to one of anxiety. She quickly ended the call and turned back to me. "Since you quit, then you quit," she said hurriedly. "It's good to rest at home for a while. Leo, something urgent came up at the company. I have to go." As I watched her car drive away, I had a strong feeling it wasn't a company emergency. Not long after, my suspicion was confirmed. Ethan had updated his social media. I clicked on the photo. It was him in a hospital bed with an IV drip in his arm, nestled weakly in a woman's arms. The caption read, "I didn't realize I was still so important to you." The sliver of clothing visible on the woman in the photo was the exact same blouse Chloe had been wearing. I stared at my phone screen, a sarcastic smile playing on my lips. So this was her emergency. I remembered all the times I had been sick, always toughing it out alone, buying my own medicine, driving myself to the doctor. One time my fever hit 104 degrees, and I could barely get out of bed. I called her, feeling incredibly weak, and asked for help. Her reply was simple. "Leo, just go to the hospital yourself. I'm busy at work and have no time to go with you." I closed my phone, not in the mood to look anymore. Chloe didn't come home for 3 days. When she finally walked through the door, there was a faint, unconscious smile on her face. It seemed she and Ethan had been getting along quite well. I pretended not to notice, silently bending down to put on a pair of black leather shoes. I was meeting Mark and some other friends for a farewell dinner. Seeing me dressed up in a nice black and red suit, Chloe realized I was going out and grabbed my arm. "You're going out? Where?" I didn't want to answer, so I changed the subject. "Where have you been these past few days? Why didn't you come home?" Her smile vanished instantly. After a long pause, she said, "I had an unexpected business trip. I forgot to tell you." Business trip, I thought, the image of her coddling Ethan in the hospital flashing in my mind. I sneered internally, but just hummed softly, adjusting my clothes in front of the full-length mirror. "Chloe," I said quietly, "you won't have to lie to me much longer." She seemed to feel a bit uneasy at my lack of interrogation, a strange feeling creeping in. Her eyes scanned the living room and landed on the suitcases piled up near the door. "What are all these suitcases for?" she asked, trying to make small talk. "The seasons are changing," I lied smoothly. "I'm getting things organized to make them easier to find." I didn't tell her the truth, that I'd spent the last few days packing my life away. The world trip would be long, and I was separating my clothes for different seasons into different bags. My excuse wasn't very convincing, and she looked like she wanted to ask more, but I checked my phone. It was almost time for my reservation. Just then, Ethan posted another update. I clicked on it. It was a photo of him at a bar, looking like he was drinking his sorrows away. His face was flushed, his eyes hazy as he stared at the camera, clutching a glass like he was fragile and broken. I smiled and handed my phone to her, interrupting whatever she was about to say. "Looks like Ethan is getting wasted at a bar. It's so late, and a guy like him all alone must be unsafe. Aren't you going to check on him?" The photo filled the screen, and Chloe's expression changed immediately. Her eyes darkened, and her lips pressed into a tight line. She looked anxious, but mindful of me. She forced herself to remain rational. "I haven't been home in days. I'd rather spend more time with you." She said the words, but her eyes never left the picture of Ethan. I smiled faintly. "It's okay? Didn't you say he has no family here, and you need to take extra care of him? You can spend time with me whenever. You should go check on him now." "Don't worry, I don't mind." She looked at my smiling face, and an unexplainable frustration seemed to well up inside her. Even though she had always wished for me to be more understanding, seeing me this way lately made her inexplicably anxious. She wanted to ask why, but the image of Ethan in the photo kept flashing in her mind. Concern for him won out. "Leo," she said apologetically, "I'll just take him home and be right back to spend time with you." Watching her retreating figure, I didn't feel a thing. I hailed a cab as soon as I stepped outside. At the Nightfall bar, I had just walked in when I saw two very familiar figures. Ethan was slumped over the bar, muttering for more drinks, completely drunk. Chloe stood over him, her face dark as she snatched a glass from his hand. "Stop drinking, it's bad for you." Hearing her voice, Ethan looked up and threw himself into her arms, nuzzling against her with red-rimmed eyes. "Chloe, I regret it," he sobbed. "I regret leaving you. I've never gotten over you. Does our promise still count? I know you've been waiting for me too. Leo was just someone you settled for. Now that I'm back, can we get back together?" He asked again and again. Hearing the man she once loved beg to get back together, Chloe's eyes softened. She was clearly moved, but even so, she sighed softly. "Ethan, I have a boyfriend now. We're about to get married." Even though she said that, when he wrapped his arms around her neck and leaned in to kiss her, she didn't push him away. I stood a short distance away in the crowd, witnessing the whole thing. The thumping music filled my ears as people swayed to the rhythm. I gave a self-deprecating smile, unable to watch any longer, and turned to find Mark and my friends. Just as I found their booth, I heard a shout from behind me. "Leo!" It was Chloe. She must have seen me. She was chasing after me, pushing through the crowd. She finally reached my booth just as my friends were raising their glasses. "Cheers! This drink is a send-off for Leo. Congratulations on finally getting rid of Chloe and leaving for good." Hearing this, Chloe's face went pale. Her blood must have run cold. She rushed in front of me, her voice trembling. "Leaving? Where are you going?" I was startled by her sudden appearance. After a moment, I twisted my wrist free from her grasp, my expression perfectly calm. "These are my colleagues. I resigned from my job. Isn't that a kind of leaving? Where else could I go?" Mark and the others quickly chimed in. "Yeah, Leo's just leaving the company. We're really going to miss him." Hearing this, Chloe's tension and panic instantly subsided. She didn't know my friends, so she didn't realize we were all lying to her face. But while I had passed her scrutiny, Mark wasn't about to let her off the hook. He looked Ethan up and down, who was now clinging to Chloe's arm, and sneered. "So, you're Leo's girlfriend? Aren't you about to marry him? Why were you hugging and kissing another man just now?" My face remained passive. I had no intention of explaining anything for her. Let Mark have his say. Chloe's face turned ugly. "That's my friend. He was drinking alone and I happened to run into him. I was worried, so I'm taking him home." "Just taking him home, huh?" Mark shot back. But after a glance from me, he ultimately said nothing more. Seeing that the crisis was averted, Chloe relaxed. "Good, he's not angry," I imagined she was thinking. "Leo, drink less. Come home early and be safe. I'll take Ethan home first." She didn't even wait for a reply, turning and guiding Ethan out of the bar. I paid her no attention, picking up my glass and continuing to chat with my friends as if she had never been there. It was past midnight when I finally got home. The house was dark and cold. In the past, if she came home this late, I would have left a warm yellow light on for her, waiting on the sofa. But now, the living room was cold and empty. The next day, she must have still felt guilty because she suggested something unusual. "Leo, I haven't spent much time with you lately. Didn't you always want to go to the temple to pray for blessings? I'm free today. How about I go with you?" I was about to refuse, but then I remembered my parents. They were about to travel as well, and getting them a good luck charm seemed like a nice idea. So I nodded. What I didn't expect was to see a large group of her friends, along with Ethan, waiting for us at the foot of the mountain. Before I could say anything, one of her friends spoke up impatiently. "Leo, what's with that look? Don't be so petty. We're all friends just hanging out." Then Ethan stepped forward, feigning kindness. "You guys don't say that. Today is kind of Chloe and Leo's date. It's natural for him to be upset that we joined." Finally, Chloe tried to persuade me. "Leo, I just mentioned in our group chat that I was going to pray, and I guess everyone wanted to come. Since we're all here, let's just go together. Don't be so petty." Listening to them, I found it amusing. I used to be jealous of everything involving her and Ethan. But now that I didn't love her anymore, why would I bother? I tugged at my lip. "I didn't say I disagreed. We're all friends. What's wrong with praying together?" My easy agreement seemed to stun her. I saw the confusion on her face again. Why didn't I care? Before she could figure it out, Ethan was by her side. "Since Leo agrees, let's go up the mountain together, Chloe. I'm not very strong, so you'll have to look out for me." Her concern for Ethan immediately took over. "Stay close to me," she said, supporting him as they started to climb. I watched them acting intimately ahead of me, and felt nothing. I just continued climbing on my own until a cry of surprise came from up ahead. I turned to see Ethan sitting on the ground, his face pale. "Chloe, I twisted my ankle!" She panicked, forgetting everything else as she rushed to his side. "I'll take you to the hospital right away," she said, helping him up. Then she seemed to remember me. She looked back, her lips moving slightly, but she couldn't say anything. I just smiled understandingly. "Don't worry about me. I can climb up by myself. The injured person comes first. You guys go." With Ethan moaning in her arms, she didn't have the mental energy to question my strange behavior. She just nodded and hurried off down the mountain. After they left, my supposed brothers also made excuses and left. I went up the mountain alone, sincerely prayed for my parents, got a pair of good luck charms, and came back down. When I got home that evening, she was there with a strawberry cake. "Leo, this is your favorite. Consider it an apology for today." I smiled faintly. "There's nothing to apologize for. He was injured and alone. It's natural for you to take care of him." My forgiveness made her relax, but she couldn't help but ask about the strangeness she'd been noticing. "Leo, you've become much more understanding lately." I tugged at my lip. "Really? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?" Surprised by my question, she paused, then said after a long while, "This way is very good." Was it because she could finally show her affection for Ethan without restraint? "Really? I think it's good too," I smiled. "So I'll continue to be understanding from now on." A few days later, she booked a table at a romantic restaurant, trying again to make things right. I was preoccupied with my upcoming trip, a surge of anticipation making me smile. Chloe, seeing my smile, probably thought her surprise had worked. Halfway through the meal, a familiar person arrived. It was Ethan, with another woman. They sat at a nearby table, chatting and smiling. From the moment Ethan entered, Chloe's entire attention was on him. When she saw him get up to wipe something from the other woman's lips, she couldn't hold back anymore. Her grip on her knife and fork tightened, making a harsh scraping sound on her plate. At the same time, a message popped up on her phone. I guessed it was from Ethan. She stared at his table, and finally, when he got up and headed toward the restroom, she abruptly stood up. "I have to step out for a moment," she told me. I knew exactly where she was going. Shortly after she left, I also got up and followed. Sure enough, as I rounded the corner to the restrooms, I saw her cornering him, pressing him against the wall, her eyes burning with anger. "That woman is so plain, she doesn't deserve you," I heard her say. "You have to break up with her, do you hear me?" Ethan hugged her, his voice choked with emotion. "I don't want anyone else, Chloe. I only want you." She froze, her mind clearly in a painful struggle. She didn't answer, but her silence was the best answer he could have hoped for. I forced a smile and turned to leave. I knew she loved him. "Don't worry, Chloe," I thought. "This time I'll leave. I won't make it difficult for anyone." The next day, Ethan came over, a stack of photos in his hand, another one of his little games. "Leo, help me take a look. What do you think of these women my friends introduced me to?" he asked, deliberately glancing at Chloe. I saw the anger flash in her eyes, but I just played along, randomly pointing at a few. "These few look pretty good." This seemed to make Chloe's breathing quicken, but before she could say anything, Ethan had already left. She suddenly hugged me tightly, resting her chin on my collarbone. "Leo, you can relax now, right? Ethan is starting a new relationship. You don't have to be jealous anymore." She was trying to comfort me, but I could feel the tension in her body, the barely suppressed panic. She was terrified of losing him. I just chuckled softly and nodded, saying nothing. On the day I decided to leave, I woke up very early, and for the first time in a long time, I made breakfast. A little while later, Chloe also got up, surprised to see me busy in the kitchen. "You're not working. Why are you up so early?" she asked. "What about you?" I replied casually. "Isn't it the weekend?" Her expression faltered. "Couldn't sleep," she lied, distractedly eating a few bites of breakfast, her face dark as she constantly checked her phone. I knew why she was anxious. Ethan had just posted that he was heading out to meet a potential date. Sure enough, she couldn't sit still any longer. Halfway through breakfast, she grabbed her coat and rushed for the door. "Leo, something suddenly came up at the company. I have to go." I calmly sipped my milk, not exposing her lie. Just as she walked out the door, I suddenly called out to her, "Chloe, goodbye." The abrupt farewell was a bit strange. She glanced back, but she was preoccupied with stopping Ethan's date and didn't think much of it, leaving without a backward glance. Only when her car disappeared from sight did I call a moving company. I had already packed the luggage I was taking. As for everything else I was leaving behind in this house, I wanted none of it. "Please help me take these bags to the dump and burn them all," I told the man on the phone. I would burn these belongings, and with them, 7 years of my life with her. The luggage was moved out, load by load, until the house was empty. I smiled, turned, and walked away without looking back. "Chloe, after I stopped loving you, I became as free as the wind. This time I will grant you your wish, and in doing so, I will finally free myself." Just before the plane took off, my phone screen lit up. It was Chloe. "Leo, where did you go?" She had barely uttered the words when the call was disconnected by a flight attendant gently reminding passengers to turn off their phones. I thought of her accusatory tone and simply turned my phone off completely. My world tour was about to begin, and I didn't want anything to disturb my mood. It wasn't until the plane left the ground that I truly felt that sense of freedom. For all these years, I had lived for her. Now, I was finally going to live for myself. The moment before I turned off my phone, a scheduled text message was sent to her. "Chloe, let's break up. I don't want you anymore. I'm leaving you to Ethan." Weeks passed. I traveled through 3 countries, soaking in the sights, the sounds, the freedom. I was in a small city at the southernmost tip of the next country on my list when Mark called. "You're not going to believe this," he said, his voice a mix of shock and amusement. "Chloe completely lost it. She tracked me down, screaming about where you went. I gave her a piece of my mind, told her exactly what I thought of her and her friend Ethan. Then, get this, she somehow finds out all this dirt on Ethan. Turns out he wasn't some scholar abroad. He was basically a kept man who got played by a bunch of rich women and came crawling back. Chloe exposed everything, ruined him completely. He tried to drug her in a hotel, can you believe it? The guy is a total scumbag. She had him arrested or something. It's a huge mess." I listened, a strange sense of detachment washing over me. "And Chloe?" I asked, my voice even. "That's the crazy part," Mark continued. "She's been trying to find you. She's obsessed. Her parents are trying to control her, but she's not listening." He paused. "Leo, there's someone new with you, isn't there? I saw her in the background of our last video call." I smiled, a genuine, carefree smile. I held up my phone to show him the beautiful waterfall behind me. "Mark, don't worry. I'm very happy now. Look at this." A cheerful, cute girl with a healthy tan and a camera slung over her shoulder popped into the frame, making a peace sign. "This is Maya, a friend I met on the road." "Hi there," Maya said, her eyes bright and full of life. Mark seemed inexplicably reassured. I think he just needed to know I wasn't alone, that I wouldn't be foolish enough to go back. After I hung up, I thought about what he'd said. Ethan's situation didn't leave a mark on me, Since I had chosen to leave, everything related to Chloe was no longer my concern. I did suddenly remember hearing her call my name back in that first city, but I had deliberately not turned back. I didn't want to see her. We were over. I didn't expect that my call with Mark would lead her right to me. A few days later, I was staying in a small villa guest house, cooking dinner, when there was a frantic knocking on the door. I opened it, and it wasn't me, but Maya, who had come over to use my shower since hers was broken. She was in a bathrobe, rubbing her hair with a towel. Standing on the porch was Chloe, looking wild-eyed and furious. The second she saw Maya, she lunged. "Who are you?" she screamed, throwing a punch. "What are you doing in his house dressed like that?" But Maya wasn't just any traveler. She was a retired Special Forces soldier. She easily dodged the punch, twisted Chloe's arm behind her back, and pinned her. "I'm his friend," Maya said, her cute face suddenly stern. "Lashing out isn't very polite." She then dragged a struggling Chloe in front of me. "Leo, do you know this person?" I put down my spatula and frowned. "Chloe, what are you doing here?" She endured the pain, looked up at me, and her eyes filled with tears. "Leo," she murmured, her voice thick with emotion. "I know I was wrong. I'm here to admit my mistake." I gave Maya a look, and she reluctantly released Chloe. Chloe gritted her teeth, and with her left hand forcibly popped her right shoulder back into place, letting out a soft gasp of pain. She was trying to make me feel sorry for her. But I knew her too well. The foolish Leo who used to chase after her was long gone. "Stop pretending," I said flatly. "It's fake. And no need to apologize. I don't want to forgive you. We've already broken up." She looked at me, incredulous. "A unilateral breakup doesn't count," she insisted, her voice rising with desperation. "I didn't agree. We're engaged. As long as you nod, we can go back home and get married. We can travel the world together just like we planned." I couldn't listen anymore. "Chloe, don't be childish. I don't love you anymore. I've already told your parents about canceling the wedding, and my parents know too. Stop making a scene." My flat, impatient tone seemed to drive her mad. She stumbled back, shaking her head. "No, we didn't break up," she sobbed, grabbing my hand. "I've completely let go of Ethan. I've seen his true colors. The only person in my heart is you." I felt a surge of anger. "The person who truly disappointed me wasn't Ethan," I said, my voice rising. "It was you. I could overlook your past with him, as long as you had eyes for me. But you didn't. While you were with me, you never let go of him. Yet you didn't want to break up with me either. You're just so greedy." I looked at her with utter disappointment. "Molly, I'm tired. Stop looking for me." With that, Maya, indifferent to Chloe's reaction, forcibly pushed her out and slammed the door. We could hear her crying outside, calling my name. It started to rain. Maya looked out the window. "She's just sitting out there, getting soaked." My good mood was gone. This was her choice. I called my mom, who then called hers. Not long after, a car pulled up, and several bodyguards came and took a feverish, unconscious Chloe away. "Well," Maya said, turning from the window, "that was dramatic." She smiled. "I hear Iceland is beautiful this time of year. Want to chase the northern lights with me?" She held out her hand. Without hesitation, I took it. We packed our bags at top speed, checked out of our guest houses, and boarded the next flight to Iceland. The meticulously planned world tour itinerary was disrupted, but I didn't care. This unexpected adventure felt right. On the plane, we planned our new journey, our voices filled with excitement. This was a feeling I'd never experienced with Chloe. With her, I was always the one talking, planning, and she was the quiet listener who would just say, "Okay, you decide." With Maya, it was a partnership. It was in Iceland, under the shimmering green curtains of the Aurora Borealis, that we confessed our feelings for each other. In that moment, I knew I had completely emerged from the shadow Chloe had cast over my life. 3 months later, our travels brought us back home for a short visit. As fate would have it, we ran into Chloe at the airport. She was there, dragging a suitcase, looking haggard and lost. Her eyes landed on our intertwined fingers, and her face went blank. You two are really together?" she asked, her voice a hoarse whisper. I looked at Maya, we exchanged a small smile, and I nodded solemnly. "We've been together for a while now. We'd appreciate it if you wished us happiness." Jealousy and desperation flooded Chloe's face. She tried to pull me away from Maya. "Leo, stop fooling around. She's not right for you. Only I truly understand you. We're childhood sweethearts. You loved me for so many years. Let's go. We'll get married as soon as we get back." It was Maya who shattered her delusion. "Forget it, Chloe," she said, flashing a simple, elegant ring on her finger. "Leo has already accepted my proposal. We're planning to get our marriage license in a few days, and then continue our journey." Chloe gripped my wrist, her eyes bloodshot. "Leo, are you really going to marry her? Then what about me? What am I to you?" She was pleading, begging. "Please, can we start over? I'll be good to you forever." I emotionlessly pulled my hand free. "Chloe, I gave you many chances. You didn't cherish them. Now I have a new life. Let me go. I forgive you, but it's over." My words made her hand fall limply to her side. She gave a bitter laugh, her smile more painful than tears. She watched as Maya and I walked away, hand in hand. She looked utterly defeated. The days that followed were a whirlwind. Chloe's parents held a massive, lavish ceremony to formally recognize me as their godson, a move to publicly cement the end of any romantic possibility between Chloe and me, and to preserve the relationship between our families. I saw Chloe there, forced to attend. She was a ghost of her former self, a hollowed-out version of the woman I once loved. She was made to hand me a gift, and I heard her mother say, "Look, your sister is so happy she's speechless." I accepted it and simply said, "Thank you for the gift, sister," before handing it to Maya. Chloe watched the entire thing, her eyes searching my face for any sign of reluctance. But she found none. I was genuinely happy. The day after the ceremony, Maya and I went to City Hall. As we stood on the steps, holding our new marriage certificates, our hearts pounding with joy, Chloe arrived. She was a step too late. She stopped, panting, and stared at the little red booklets in our hands that sealed our future together. Her lips moved, but all she could manage was a choked, "Wishing you happiness." Then she turned and fled. The last time I heard any news of her, it was from my mom. She said Chloe had thrown herself completely into her work, rarely leaving the office. Sometimes my mom would see her just sitting there, scrolling through old photos on her phone, clinging to memories of a past that she herself had thrown away. Meanwhile, Maya and I were on another continent, having another wedding ceremony, this one on a sun-drenched beach, just the two of us, creating new memories for a future I was finally excited to live.